Hello, BookTube. Hello, friends. Welcome to Lizziefaye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and it is the last week of April, and even though I'm knee-deep in Amish books for Amish in April, I wanted to share with you what I am planning to read for the month of May, and the Readathon Middle Grade May, in case you haven't heard about it. So, yes, this year we are bringing back Middle Grade May. It's an older readathon that started back in 2015. It was created by from Akossiwa K. She officially retired it a couple of years ago, but there was enough interest in some of my circles who wanted to bring it back because in March, they do middle grade March, but a lot of us are reading mysteries in March. So it's fun to have a whole month just for middle grade books. And if you didn't see my announcement video, I'll put a little card up here, but be sure you check that out. We have a theme that is family and a prompt for each of the letters in family. So I want to go through what I'm reading for each of those prompts, as well as maybe a few recommendations for each of them. And also I have a few books, a few goals that I want to meet in the way of middle grade books that I would like to read in May as well. So let me just start with those, and then if any of those meet any of the prompts, I'll try to figure those in, and then we'll go over what I plan to read that will meet each of the prompts. And I do plan to double up, and you can certainly do that. If you can find one book that meets all the prompts, then that's great. I have one that I think will meet at least 3 or 4 of them, so definitely going to go for that one, and it's on my Serious About series list, I think. Anyway, let's just get started. So I'm going to look at my old phone here because I don't have physical copies of everything. One of my goals for May is to finish reading the Sunshine State list for the 2021-2022 school year. I thought I only had 3 left, but I have 4. And I think 3 of these are on audio, but one of them is a graphic novel, and I would rather read that in print. So I'll definitely listen to 2 of them on audio, read the graphic novel, and then the 4th one I wish was on audio. I've been trying to get it read all year because it was the random one I drew out of my little cup here, and I still haven't gotten it read. So anyway, let's just get started. So let me show you the pictures of each of the books that I want to read that are on the Sunshine State list. One of them is by Stuart Gibbs, who is the author of the Spy School series, which I have not read, but this one is Charlie Thorne and the Last Equation, and I believe it is math themed. I don't know if it's a mystery or an adventure or what, but it sounds fun, and it is on audio. For me, I can get it on overdrive, so that's awesome. Then this one I think is the graphic novel that I need to read, and it's called When Stars Are Scattered. It's by Victoria Jameson and Omar Mohammed. If I'm wrong, let me see. Yes, this is the graphic novel. And I believe that this will count for the prompt I for Indigenous. This is set in, let me see what country. It is about growing up in a refugee camp as told by a Somali refugee. So if he's a refugee, he's in Kenya, so maybe it's not Indigenous. I don't know. I may have to come up with something else for Indigenous, because if he's a refugee from somewhere else, then that doesn't count. Anyway, I do need to read it, though, and I've heard good things about it. So then the next one is called A Wish in the Dark. It is by Christina Soontornvat. I hope I'm saying that right. And I'll show you a picture here. This is about a boy on the run and a girl determined to find him. And I believe this has some fantasy elements. It is also set, I believe it's set in another country out of the U.S. Maybe in Asia, somewhere in Asia, but I don't know the country from the description. So I'll tell you more about that after I read it. And then the next one is definitely sci-fi or fantasy or a little bit of both. It's called Cleo Porter and the Body Electric. And this, I think, is also dystopian. And so maybe it's more dystopian than fantasy. I don't know. It looks fun though. And I wish it was on audio. I mean, if it is on audio, let me know. I don't, at least the last time I checked, I didn't see it on Hoopla or Overdrive or anything as far as audio goes. Okay, so those are the 4 that I need to read to finish out the Sunshine State list. Now, I haven't checked, but the new list for next school year is probably being announced this week. If it may already be out. And if there's a video for that, I'll either put it here or leave it down in the description. But usually they do put out a little short video that shows the book covers of all of those. Okay, then I have 4 books left that are Newbery winners from the 1940s that I have not read. One of them is a book I just purchased on my trip, Adam of the Road by Elizabeth Janet Gray. And I don't know anything about that. Then I've been trying to get to this one for a couple of months. I had it on my TBR for February. I didn't get to it. The 21 Balloons. It's by William, I don't know if it's Penn or Penne Dubois. And then I have this one that I found in a little free library at Christmas time. It is Miss Hickory by Carolyn Sherwin Bailey, and I think it's about a doll. And then one I don't have a physical copy of, King of the Wind, the story of the Godolphin Arabian by Marguerite Henry. And it's about a horse. So then I have the books that I want to read that fulfill the prompts. But hang on one second and I'll be right back. Emily was in here and she wanted to go out and she would have to walk right in front of the camera or out that door. So figured it'd be better just to pause. Okay, so the prompts, F-A-M-I-L-Y. For F, we are doing Found Family. So for my own TBR, I have one book that is in a series that is the Moe and Dale Mysteries by Sheila Turnage. So I actually want to just recommend that series for a lot of these prompts. This is book 1, which I've already read. It's called 3 Times Lucky. This would definitely fit for the prompt Found Family. It is about a young girl. Her name is Moe, and she was named Moe because she was found in a Moses basket by a couple, and she doesn't know who her biological mother or father were, and she was found in a basket floating down the river and taken in by this couple. They literally found her, so definitely counts for Found Family. And now that she is probably tweenish age, well, she's been curious all her life about who her I believe she calls it her upstream mama is. And her friend Dale and her have, if that grammar is wrong, Charlotte, I'm sorry. We were having a discussion about her and she and when you would use them. And so anyway, that may be wrong because I didn't think that sentence out before I said it. But Moe and Dale are now solving mysteries. So this is a 4-book series. The second book is called The Ghosts of Tupelo Landing. I've read it as well. And this third book, The Odds of Getting Even, is one on my TBR. So this is what I'm going to count for Found Family. I'm also going to count this for adventure and for mystery. A is for adventure, M is for mystery, and this will count for all 3 of those. It would probably also count for the very last prompt because it is set in first person. And if I need to count it for that, I certainly will. But this is my recommendation if you have not read any of the series for any of those 4 prompts or all 4 of those prompts. If you have not read any of these, start with 3 Times Lucky. It is a fantastic book. Moe is just one of my favorite literary characters ever, especially in middle grade books. So then that counts for F, A, and M. For I is for Indigenous, and I mentioned earlier the one book that I thought I would count, and if that one doesn't work, then I'm not sure what I will read or listen to. I'll have to think on it a little bit. But one that I would recommend is another Newbery winner, Julie of the Wolves. Now, Julie, this would also count for Found Family because Julie has found a new family with the wolves, and she is trying to escape a very bad family situation. So it's kind of a stretch, but it could work for family. And she is I think is it Inuit? What used to be called Eskimo and now I believe is not politically correct. So just trying to clarify that. Anyway, she is a young girl who is escaping from an arranged marriage that would not be a good situation. And this is the first in a trilogy. It's a Newbery winner. I really enjoyed this book a lot, and I enjoyed the whole trilogy. There are also a couple of storybooks that are related as well, and so I recommend that that book and that trilogy. Then that is I. So for L, we are reading the Penderwicks. L is for large or large family, and I would recommend this. I have read the Penderwicks. If you have not, please join us for the read-along. I will be setting up some threads on my Goodreads group, Lizziefaye's Comfy Corner, for this read-along, and this is the first book. At least try out the first book. Try out the first chapter. I just think it's such a great book. It's very idyllic. It has a classic feel, even though it is a contemporary setting. It's about a family of 4 girls and their friend who is a boy. So you could see why I would say it has a Little Women vibe. Plus, it's just such a feel-good story. Anyway, it's a 5-book series, and I plan to read one of these each month for the next 5 months. And I hope you will join me for the read-along. And another book that comes to mind or another family that comes to mind when we're talking large families is the Waltons. Did you know there are books about the Waltons? If you can get your hands on one, this would be an option to read for large. And this is book 3. This is book 1 in the Walton series. I just picked up book 3 and I showed it in my trip haul, which may or may not have come out yet. I'm working on it. But anyway, I'm not sure how many are in this series. This is book 1. It's got Jim Bob on the front, and it's called The Bird Dog. The Waltons is a family of 7 children. It was a fantastic TV show, and it would certainly count for large family. So the last prompt is Y, and that stands for you or first person. So any book that is in first person counts. Now, I've got a few examples here because that might be, hard off the top of your head to think of something that is written in first person. Of course, I've already recommended the series by Sheila Turnage, the Moe and Dale Mysteries, but also another former Sunshine State book that I think is just fantastic that's written in first person is called Short by Holly Goldberg Sloan. It's about a young girl who has been cast as a munchkin in The Wizard of Oz, in a stage version of Wizard of Oz. It's really fun. And then a trilogy by Rita Williams Garcia is the Gaither Sisters. This is book 1 called One Crazy Summer. It's a fantastic trilogy. I've read all 3, highly recommend, and this is from first person from the perspective of the oldest sister. So all of those are really good. Now, I realized I skipped accidentally some recommendations for the earlier prompts. So going back now, Found Family we covered, but Adventure. This one would be a good one for Found Family and Adventure. This is Frog Kisser by Garth Nix. This is about a young princess who is trying to help her sister, and she is trying to escape her wicked stepfather, and then she is helped out by the dogs that are the sort of protectors of the kingdom, and the royal dogs. I think they have a name, but I'm not sure what it is. Anyway, it's kind of a fractured fairy tale, loosely based on the Frog Prince, and it's so fun. It's a fantastic adventure story, and I thoroughly loved it. And then another one for large family and also for mystery are the Happy Hollisters. This is an old series. This is the first series I remember reading as a 3rd grader after I had exhausted all the books of the storybooks on my 3rd grade teacher's shelf. She pointed to the row of red books on her other shelf and said to my mother, who was coming to pick me up, "I think Elizabeth is ready for those." And in case you're wondering what I mean by red books, all of hers had no dust jackets, so they were these dark red books, which is what most of my collection consists of. I just thought I would show you this one because it does have a dust jacket, so it's a little more interesting. It's a family who solves mysteries and has adventures, the Happy Hollisters. They have started re-releasing some of these books in softcover editions, and that started a few years ago. So if you go to the website, I believe it's happyhollister.com, and check it out. If that's not it, I will put a link in the description for where you can find the Happy Hollister books in the current editions, and you can find them at antique bookstores and just random places where you can buy used books. I tend to find them just randomly here and there because I have my eyes out for them. And your library may have some still. One of our local libraries has a pretty good collection of them, so check your library first of all. So that would count for a mystery, adventure, large, lots of prompts. So that is about everything that I want to show you in the way of middle grade books. Now, I do have a couple of other books that I do need to read during the month for some other goals for my book clubs. For the first book club that meets on the second Thursday of the month, we are reading, well, that's my mystery book club. We are reading Elementary She Read by Vicki Delaney, which I believe is the first book in a cozy mystery series that has to do with Sherlock Holmes. In fact, it's called the Sherlock Holmes Bookshop Mystery. And if you would like to read a middle grade book that is related to Sherlock Holmes, I would highly recommend the Enola Holmes series by Nancy Springer. I just binged the first 6 books of that series in March and loved them. So the first one is The Case of the Missing Marquess. So be sure to check that out. I would highly recommend. Then for my regular literary book club, I'll have to put a picture here. We're reading The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. I don't really know anything about it, but that is what we're reading for that book club. And I think that's just about everything. Oh, there is one other book that I plan to read for the Killin' Time with Cozies read-along. We have been reading the Dangerous Type series by Paige Shelton. This is book 2, which I read in April. And book 3 we're reading in May, and it's called Comic Sans Murder, I believe. So I'll be listening to that on audio on Hoopla. I think that's everything that I need to read. I've got a couple of other books. I have a middle grade book that an author sent to me a couple of years ago that I would like to get to. If I can get to that, I'll show you that at whatever time I start reading it, because I hate to show it to you again and still not read it. But, you know, there's a possibility that I could get to some other books. But several of these are books I need to read in print, and y'all know I'm slow to read in print. So whatever I can get on audio, I may end up having to read the graphic novel on audio and maybe just follow along in the book just for the interest of time. I don't know. Sometimes the fine print in graphic novels, it's hard for me to see. So, I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. Anyway, I hope that you will join us for Middle Grade May. Oh, I totally forgot about Book a Day in May. I think I mentioned that in my announcement video, but that is something that Elizabeth Tyree and I have been doing for several years. Elizabeth Tyree is one of the co-hosts for Middle Grade May, and also Storm from Storm Reads, and Leanne from Dark Roots Creations. Be sure you check out all of their videos. Leanne is going to be hosting some reading sprints on Sunday afternoons or evenings, I believe 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I don't know if she's doing it every Sunday, but there's going to be a kickoff this coming Sunday on May the 1st. So I hope you will join us on her channel. I will leave all the hosts linked down below. And then I will be doing my Terrific Tuesdays with Friends Over Coffee. And if you would like to be on that with me and chat about middle grade books, please do. I have the worst time remembering to line up guests ahead of time, and then I get to the night before or the morning of, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't have anybody to come on with me. So let me know ahead of time if you would be interested in coming on there, so we can set it up and I can send you the link, and you can be my guest and chat with me. I would love to have, you know, 2 or 3 people each week to chat about middle grade books with. Okay, back to Book a Day in May. That is something that could go along very nicely with Middle Grade May, because a lot of middle grade books you can read very quickly. But I am going to do the same thing I did last year, but with some different books by the same author. If you recall, last year, my daughter Emily and I read a Dr. Seuss book every day. And through my searching and researching Dr. Seuss, I discovered that there were a lot more Dr. Seuss books than what you could read one a day of in a month. I think there's just about enough that we could read 30 more different books than what we read last year, if I can get copies of them. So we may have to do a couple of overlaps that we read last year, but my goal is to read as many as we can that we have not read before or we didn't read last year. And that will be a fun journey. I will try to document that on Instagram like I did last year. I haven't been good at Instagram lately at all, but I'm gonna make an attempt to do that. Anyway, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you're planning to read anything for middle grade May. You don't need to do the prompts. You just need to read at least one middle grade book in the month of May to consider yourself a participant. And I hope that you will. And if you are going to do a TBR video or have already done a TBR video for middle grade May, then let me know in the comments so I can go and watch it. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book and God bless you.